you know, during that period of time, we did lean on each other quite a bit, and I loved you for it, and I was so blessed for it, and we had so many amazing memories that I will always hold dear to my heart. But during that time, you know, fast forward to where we are now, you didn't talk about your sexual orientation, nor did
Mhm.
I want to ask, because at the end of the day, I looked at you as you, and love is love, and I wasn't really fussed with it. I mean, you were just my best
Mhm.
friend. It's not, I didn't really care what, you know, what you were doing or who you were doing or what you wanted to do, you know?
Mhm.
But I am curious now because we didn't talk about it then. And now it's
Mhm.
a huge part of what you do and how you project into the wonderful work that you're doing. So, what was that period like for you not being able to come out to your friends? And was that difficult?
Very. It was very mentally damaging to me because I remember it was right around the time, maybe 6 or 8 months before I booked maybe Teen Beach Movie or something like that. And I sat down with my one of my representatives who I'm not with anymore,
Mhm.
and and remember it was a very Hollywood sit down. I was at the Polo Lounge. It was the afternoon. It was like, and when you're from Detroit Metro and you've only been here a year, you get kind of enamored with like the story and the place, right?
Mhm.
And the history. The person said at the time, um, "Are you gay?" And I was like, "I think I'm bi," because I didn't know how to answer that. It was also 10 years ago when if you were out in the industry, people just wouldn't let you audition for things. So they said, okay, well, they're like, right now you come across as gay, so we're gonna have to fix that because otherwise they won't let you in the room. So, and I was like, really? And they said, yeah, because nobody wants to fuck the gay guy. They want to shop with him. So we have to get you some sex appeal. And I was like, okay. I'm like a really goofy person if you're going to try and sell that. Um, and so then it turned into this rat race of like, how do they alter me into the thing that's marketable? And so they,
Yeah.
they worked with me on everything from what I was wearing to the way I walked, the way I spoke, the things I would say to people, the auditions I would go in on. They would call casting for notes on how gay I came across and tell me how to fix it and how to hide it and what events I should be going to and how I should associate with people and who I can associate with. The way I would pose in pictures would be micromanaged. And I think you probably saw a little bit of that from, I'm not going to name names, but I'm sure you saw quite a bit of that actually. Um,
Yeah.
and it was so micromanaged. And I remember always feeling that pressure. And that's also probably another reason I gravitated towards you because I never felt that pressure from you.
Mhm.
And mind you, I met like my fiance now, Blake, I'd met him 6 months after I moved here.
Wow.
And when I had this conversation with that representative, I remember back to him and I was like, I think I'm having an identity crisis because I don't know how I'm going to do this. And so we figured out, well, because my actual legal name is Gary. And so we thought, well, what if I just make it a character? What if I make Garrett a character?
Yeah.
And I protect Gary and I let Garrett do the things that make me as Gary feel conflicted. And honestly, the line was really blurred because I would get friends like you, or I would have all these people that I would start to get close to, and I felt like again in my life, which is weird. It feels like this is a common thread where like just like when I was younger, I was suddenly living two completely different lives again. I would go
Yeah.
home and I'd be in a long-term relationship and I would do the suburban thing and cook dinner and eat ice cream in bed. And then I would go out and I'd have to play this character because if I didn't, I wouldn't have opportunity. I wouldn't have representatives and I wouldn't be able to chase my dream because they just didn't want to represent a gay man. They didn't want to have to do the work to get me in the room to prove to people that I'm a good enough actor to book the job. They just didn't want to do it. And they made it very clear. And so I would always come home and I would have these like mental distress moments and be like, Blake, I don't know how I'm gonna. I feel like just like a fucking asshole. I feel like a liar. I feel like a bad person. Like I'm getting close to these people and I don't have bad intentions, but if I tell them then I'm going to lose my representation. I'm going to lose these opportunities. And I dropped out of college. I left my whole life behind. I came here after I remember having a garage sale. I sold everything I had. My parents were pulling furniture out of their house just so I could have an extra month of rent, just so that I could chase my dream. And I was like, I can't compromise that, because I have one chance to do what I want to chase this dream. And my family gave up everything and let me do this. And so I refuse to compromise that dream, but I also didn't want to compromise who I was. So it was very mentally damaging. And it felt like I was just on, and I had to go to therapy for a few years, because I was like, how can I face even people like you, Hayley? It was like, how do I face these people after telling them I love them? Like, I really do love my friends that I've made. It's just, I'm in a really fucked up position, and if I say anything, then I'm going to have to go back home.